Hi, I'm David.
Hello, I'm Rachel.
And welcome to Leisure Bit. And today we're coming to you from the Whitby Traction Engine Rally 2022. Let's go take a look around. The 2022 Whitby Traction Engine Rally was held between Friday the 5th and Sunday the 7th of August. It's held near Whitby Abbey and it's about a 15-minute walk from the event into Whitby. There's lots of things to see and do, including steam and vintage vehicles, a funfair, stalls to peruse, and a stunt show. There's also entertainment for children and grown-ups. There's catering facilities and licensed spas also. On the Saturday evening there's a grand fireworks display. Let's start our journey on the outskirts of Whitby and travel through to the Whitby Traction Engine Rally camping.
Hey darling, can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now. Pack our bags and get in that car, leave a little note and we'll drive real far. Let's get out, we can leave this city, let's drive to the open air. Yeah, the countryside is so pretty, with the wind blowing in your hair. We can look back someday, baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey, come on now and take my hand.
I'd decided to camp at the event and you could arrive from 3 p.m. on the Wednesday and depart Monday at 12 p.m. The cost for the camping this year was £125. That included 2 adults and up to 2 children. That included access to the event for the 3 days, and the facilities were toilets, water and a chemical disposal point. It also included some entertainment on some evenings, and you have to pre-book the camping. You can also pay for entry for each of the days if you're staying at a nearby campsite or just travelling to the event for the day. Worth noting that dogs are welcome on leads, you can hire mobility scooters, and it's about a 15-minute walk into the seaside town of Whitby. Just having a quick look around at the moment, this was Friday morning before everything had opened up. Just give you a little bit of a view of what was happening at that point in time. Friday was the first day of the event, so people were getting set up and getting ready for the event. We started on the Friday by having a look around the large steam traction engines. After we'd had an initial look around, we decided to take a wander into the beautiful seaside town of Whitby. To head into Whitby, you head in the direction of the Abbey, and then you pass the Whitby Brewery on your right, and then you head down past the entrance to the Abbey. You then head down the path that runs along the wall through St Mary's Churchyard. And once you get through the churchyard, you then come to the famous 199 steps, which lead you down into Whitby. If the weather's right, there's some really nice views of Whitby from the top of the 199 steps, and it's worth taking a few moments just to admire the view before you make your descent. It's also worth glancing back at St Mary's Church as well while you're there. And welcome to Whitby. So let's go and take a look around. When you get to the bottom of the 199 steps, if you take a right, you can go along to where they smoke the kippers. We didn't go there this time, we actually headed into the town, but just for reference, it's handy to know. Whitby's famous for its black jet jewellery, so you see a lot of shops that are selling Whitby jet. This part of Whitby is what's known as the Old Town, and there's lots of interesting shops selling various foods, sweets and toffee in this case, which Rachel seems partial to. And they're more Whitby Jet shops showing the different jewellery available. Now head down through the Old Town and head towards the bridge. There's lots of interesting offshoots here to explore as well, and Rachel found Arguments Yard. If you're in Whitby on an evening, there's a ghost walk you can do from here, which is really interesting. We didn't do it this time, but we've done it in the past. There's also plenty of galleries, coffee shops, fish and chips of course, toy shops to keep the kids entertained, rock, so look at all that rock, wow. And really interesting to have an explore around the Old Town. We're now going to head over the bridge, which takes us into the new town part of Whitby, more your traditional seaside resort, with shops, bars, restaurants, amusement arcades and that sort of thing. We're now at the other side of the bridge, and just before we head along there, let's take a quick glance back at the Old Town, and you can see St Mary's Church on the top there. We're going to head in the direction of the beach and the pier, so just take a quick glance back of where we've wandered along so far, where there's a number of shops. There's boat rides you can take, which we take one in a little while, which take you out on a little sea cruise. There's also fishing trips available if you fancy a bit of sea fishing. You can just see the pier starting to come into view and the lighthouse on the end there. And we're just wandering along now. There's another rock shop, and we're just heading again along in the direction of the seafront. We've got the Dracula experience coming up here. Great one to visit, especially with the kids, telling the story of the famous Count Dracula. Just continue to head along the promenade now. Around here you'll find a number of seafood stalls, as well as the fish market, which is just a little bit further along on the right hand side. There's plenty of places to grab a drink or some food or some famous fish and chips as you head along this way. Just coming up now is the Magpie Cafe, which we grab some fish and chips from a little bit later. Very famous in Whitby. Plenty of shops and amusement arcades selling all the great stuff you get at a seaside resort. I often visited Whitby as a child with the family, and it brings back great memories visiting the place. I always used to go to the shop we just saw there, the Beachcomber, and always managed to buy a piece of tap, to be fair, to take back. We're heading onto the pier now in the direction of the lighthouse. It's nice to take a glance back as you wander, either coming back on the pier or just on your way out, as it gives you a bit of perspective of Whitby. On the end of Whitby Pier, on the right hand side as you look back towards Whitby, you can see what's known as West Cliff, and we're just going to take a wander up there now. If you head up what's known as the Khyber Pass, which is just on your right hand side after you've come off the pier as you're heading back towards Whitby, just near where the bandstand is, if you take a right hand turn up there facing in the direction of the town and then head up, that takes you up the Khyber Pass, and on your right hand side just opposite the coffee place you can actually head up then up onto West Cliff. When you get to the top of the path you pass through the famous Whitby whalebone, and then you'll see the monument for Captain Cook. If you wander along the West Cliff, you eventually come to a cliff lift, which you can use when it's open, of course, for a fee to get down onto the beach. There's parking available on the West Cliff, but it does get very busy. There's a lovely view as well before you head back down the steps that you can see across to the Abbey and the Old Town. There's also a great view of the pier and the North Sea from here as well. Anyway, let's head back down the Khyber Pass and back along the promenade, as we quite fancied going on a little boat trip. So let's do it. The boat trip took about 20 minutes and it took us out of the harbour, about 10 minutes out at sea, and then back into Whitby through the harbour again. It was a little bit choppy when we went on it, so a little bit bouncy on the boat as you can see here, but it was really nice and it only cost us £8 for the two of us. After the boat trip we then treated ourselves to fish and chips at the Magpie, and we managed to miss the queue which had started to form as we left. After lunch we made our way slowly back to the Whitby Traction Engine Rally through the Old Town and back up the 199 steps. Take a quick glance back at the harbour there, and we decided then to head and have a quick look around Whitby Abbey. Whitby Abbey is operated by English Heritage. If you remember, you can visit the Abbey free of charge, but there are charges if you're not a member to actually go into the Abbey itself. But you can look around the outside and glance it over the wall, and you can also get access to the shop without being a member. It had actually started to drizzle on at this point, which was a shame, but it soon passed over. We were pleased we had a look around as we hadn't been before, and we'd definitely go back in the future, hopefully next time it's not raining. So after our quick wander around the Abbey, it was then time to head back to the event. And we noticed then that the Whitby Brewery had opened up and was actually quite busy. Just heading back into the showground now. Take a quick glance back at the Abbey before we head back in. Here's a steam-powered log splitter that was being used to demonstrate cutting logs using the power of both hand winding and steam power. You can see the steam coming out there. And there was a number of other engines that were really impressive engineering and dating back from years ago. There was also tractor racing going on where they were pulling things with the tractors at significant speed. You can really hear the revs get up on the tractor when they pull those things along. It's quite interesting and fascinating to watch. There was also then little steam engines, which were really fascinating as well. And this one there used to power the light and generate electricity. Here's another little steam engine used in this case to drive a belt and a pulley to pump water. Another one there pushing the ducks around the little pond. And here's a steam-powered milking machine. You can see all the pulleys driving the different gadgets that actually then ended up pumping the milk and putting it into the milk churn. And here's a steam-powered generator which generated 4.5 kilowatts, which was produced in September 1957 in Scarborough. Here's some more mini steam engines driving water pumps. Take a look now at the vintage tractors. So nice display of old tractors there and a nice lineup. Some commercial camping vehicles here. There was also a really nice display of classic cars, which actually did a run round the arena a little bit later on, but here's a quick view of them just while they're being parked up. We then had a little wander around the stalls and the auto-jumble. There was also some really nice vintage machines playing music. Very clever. There were lots of stalls to peruse, lots of interesting bits and pieces, lots of classic and collectibles things as well. Back in the arena at this time there was a bird of prey display which was really fascinating to watch.
Is a Harris hawk. Now he shouldn't have any problem flying to me from the edge of the arena. So this one I can get a little bit close.
After watching the bird of prey display, we had a bit more wander around the stalls. All sorts of different bits and pieces. New stuff here rather than the auto-jumble. There was a Marquee which sold food and sweets and that sort of thing, as well as some gifts. There was also shows on throughout the day for the kids, including a magic show, and there was the lovely vintage Fairground. Well, I think we should have a go on that. This Fairground ride was steam powered as well. After a ride on the steam powered roundabout, we then watched the Stunt World show, which was great to watch, seeing the quads and the motorbikes driving around and then doing stunts such as jumping over the ramps here. So let's take a look at that now. Well, look at that. Now let's go and have a look at some of the classic cars. What a nice collection of old cars. What a skill this chap has, been able to carve these shapes out of the tree stumps. Just heading back to the van now, and the Fun Time Express went past. What a lovely wave. What a great way to start the day. Well, hello, it's Saturday the 6th of August at the Whitby Traction Engine Rally, and had a brilliant day yesterday with Rachel. We put Roxy in creche for the day to play with her friends because she's got a fear of motorbikes and kind of loud engines, so we thought it was actually better to make sure that she spent the time away and didn't get distressed with the motorbikes when we found they were on. So Rachel came here for the day. I've spent the night last night, which is Friday night, and spending the day today and then heading back in the morning. So hopefully get a bit of footage and see what's going on today. There's fireworks due tonight, which is another reason we thought it was probably best for Roxy to be at home. So let's see what the day brings. Cheers. So I decided to start Saturday by taking a wander into Whitby and decided to get myself some breakfast. Wandered back, same route as we did yesterday, over the bridge, and took a left this time, round by the tall ship there, and decided to treat myself to a breakfast at the Wetherspoons. Well, I had to economise, didn't I, after going to the Magpie. After breakfast, had a little bit of a wander around the Whitby town centre, and then grabbed a cup of coffee, and then went for a wander along, back to the pier, had a look at the sea, and then wandered back up to the shore. I spent the day having a little bit more look around the shore and the stalls. A great selection of old cars. Any of them you recognise? You probably recognise some of these from the parade yesterday, but here's another look anyway. and also some classic motorbikes. Time for an ice cream. There was some really impressive layouts and demonstrations and showcases. This one was really fascinating, this chap had built. Here's an American school bus conversion, really nice. Just heading back to the van now. On the outskirts of the campsite along the cliff path, there were some fantastic views of the North Sea and the coastline. Look at that, absolutely splendid. Just take a quick look at the camping field now from here. Headed back out for the evening, so let's take a look around. I took a ride on the wheel, which you have to, don't you? And there was some beautiful scenery just as the sun was setting. And you can see across the show field there and across the rest of the event. Really worth going on. We're expecting the fireworks to take place very shortly. Just waiting for it to get dark, and then they were going to set the firework display off, which we're looking forward to. It was lovely to see the old funfair illuminated, and also some of the traction engines with the lights on. It looked really special on an evening as the night drew in. With the smell of the smoke from the traction engines in the area, you can imagine what it would have been like in times gone by. So this lovely little illuminated engine. Just take a final walk around, a look at the Abbey as the sun sets, and just take a quick look at the modern fairground. So these were the thrills rides and waltzers and that kind of thing. Not for me really, but people seemed to be absolutely loving them. There was also prize stalls such as Hook a Duck. And then the fireworks started, and I was actually expecting them to be closer to the Abbey. I hadn't quite worked out where they'd go off from. So I started to make my way back towards the campervan. So let's take a look at a subset of the firework display now for a couple of minutes. So just got back after the firework display, which was good, and had a good look around the fairground. It was really pretty on a night with the Abbey as a backdrop. That was really nice, especially the old fairgrounds. That was really appealing rather than the modern new one. I think I'm getting too old for that now. A little bit of generator noise in the background. Sounds like it's going to run out of fuel soon, so hopefully get a good night's sleep. Catch you in the morning. Well, good morning. It's Sunday morning. I'll be heading off shortly. Just bobbed a breakfast muffin in the microwave. So this morning, having a Rustler's breakfast muffin. So have some breakfast, have a coffee, and then have a wander around, and then after that, be heading back. So all in all, enjoyed the experience. The only comment I would make is I don't think I got full value for money for the camping, and it would have been cheaper to stay on a local campsite and visit for the day. But if you're going there longer time, you get better value. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching.
Hope you've enjoyed it.
Catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.